Hello and welcome to Superpower Broadcasting. I'm Kevin Castley. Thanks for being with us tonight. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so yet. Tonight we're joined by Jay again. And here's the thing. Last night was a lot more serious, a lot more, dark. We got into some very serious reckoning moments right there with respect to communist China and our response. And the piss poor response that the Western leaders have had thus far, and how we gotta get, we gotta get skilled and we gotta get pilled and address the problem as it is. And yeah, last night I was mad. I was Chad, still Chad, but not so mad tonight because we got Jay here again, and we got some funny videos. We got a funny video, rather singular video. This one's gonna be a little bit of a shorter stream. I gotta be up early for work tomorrow, but always good to be joined by Hawk Jay. Welcome, big up. How are you doing today?
Big up. Much obliged. I'm great. Thank you for having me yet again, as always. I'm doing great. I see my Rogue is in the chat. Much love to Rogue. And so what's the plan, Kevin? What are we doing? We're just doing this little funny thing, are we?
So basically, here to give everybody kind of a brief rundown of an actual intelligence project that the Russian Federation, Fascist Russia, has actually been running over the last 10 years. Some people would say it's a psyop, but it's actually a robot, and of course that is the Russian cow, Kremlin cow Kulinski. Basically, he went through a very, very cringy, very poor lighting alpha phase of his his time on this mortal coil with us humans and stuff. But they sorted out the kinks there. They sorted out the kinks, and for about the last 10 years or so, he's been in his beta phase of development, and he's still
really
there.
I thought he was in his alpha, but all right.
No, dude, he graduated. He's in his beta phase right now, or as Jesse Lee Peterson would say, "Booyah!" He's in his beta. Anyway, they're still working out the kinks. And of course, the topic of this stream tonight is that our friend, the Russian cow, the fifth column who grazes in their grass fields now, he has malfunctioned yet once again, my friends. And this video was actually brought to my attention on Twitter by a guy that we've had a rough history with in the past on this channel, and that's Dylan Meisner. But here's the thing: we're not here to crap on Dylan Meisner or anything. Dylan Meisner, ever since he came on the program and actually showed up when the other people in that community were saying that it was dangerous, you can't go on, Kevin's dangerous, and Dylan was like, I'll go on. Dylan came on, even though I disagreed with his position, he defended it reasonably well for an on-the-fly appearance, especially since he doesn't do streams or anything. I was somewhat impressed with that, and we've been on neutral terms ever since. And so no hard feelings or anything towards Dylan. We have in the past, but I think that we're at a point now where the past is the past. And he brought to light, we both don't like Kyle. Dylan doesn't like Kyle. I don't like Kyle. So here's an area where we do agree. And he highlighted a clip from one of, I guess it was one of Kyle's recent videos. And so the beta phase of his development, it's been a long period, and still they're having malfunctions, severe malfunctions. And so here we go. We're going to take a look at one that happened today. And here's the challenge for the chat, the chat gang right now, gang to the chat. If you can play along with us, it's only about a 20-second clip or so. See if you can beat me and figure out what he's actually saying in this clip, because it took me 3 listens to actually get it. Oh, I know what he's saying. So let's see if the chat's going to be big brain tonight. Let's see if you guys can get it. So here we go.
I'm gonna pay for it. 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 I'm gonna pay for it.
Okay, so he's saying that usual thing that the lefties do when they talk about like healthcare. How are you going to pay for it? And
No, dude. You heard it. You heard it. I did it. For whatever reason, I couldn't make that out. I heard that, and I thought that he was literally shutting down. Like, I was like, what a goofball. What a goofball. But of course, you're right. He's doing the meme. It's just, the thing is, he does this all the time. And like, I got news, dudes. We're not laughing with you, Kremlin Kyle. We're laughing at you, dude. Like, you have 800,000 subscribers. And you're still acting like you're like a sophomore in high school filming videos in your basement with like no lighting at all. Like, I mean, we don't have a very good lighting setup on my end right now. Patreon.com/superpower broadcasting if you want to change that. You know,
good promo there. Good promo cut there, mate.
No, shameless, dude. I'm a hawk. It's shameless. Of course, it's gonna be shameless. Hawks are up front. Hawks are blunt. Hawks are base. So here's the deal with that. I didn't understand. I could not decipher. I wasn't even sure that he was like speaking words. I just thought that he was like basically like having a tick or something. I was like, oh shit, he shut down again. But then I listened to it again. I was like, this is so funny. And then I'm like, oh, he's saying, how are you going to pay for it? And so, you know, of course, it's a 20-second clip. Yeah, this is a short stream. But yeah, of course, we're going to watch it again. Here we go.
I'm going to pay for it. 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 I'm going to pay for it.
See, the thing is, yeah, Kevin, right, is what annoys me about the far left when they do this is it is a genuine, fair fucking question from just, normally it comes from the right wing. It's very rare, like someone like myself on the left will turn around and say, yeah, but how are we going to pay for it? I mean, I have said that question a number of times, but they fucking hate it and they don't want to answer it. And the simple thing is, it is a genuine question. If you want to have these programs or whatever it is you want the government to have, how are you going to fucking pay for it? And Kevin, as you know, there's been some social programs that I've talked about on this show with you. And before anyone's even said like, oh, how are you going to pay for it? I've said, oh, how I would fund it would be legislation of legalization of drugs and regulation. Pay for it, you know? Because you can't just be like, oh, how are you going to have these great ideas and then not think about how are you going to pay for it? It's a very important question.
No, I just...
lefties.
But it's gone to his head, man. He shut down there. He overheated. They had to actually, I guess, install a new cooling fan in his system after that, just to keep the beta version running. I mean, really? I mean, this is Russian engineering at its finest here, my friends. Straight out of Siberia Valley, you know. But here's the deal. We have American Madhouse in the chat. We're joined by Base Talk. We got Henry in the chat. And he asked the same question that he asked after I played the Hassan Piker one. And he says, why would you subject us to that, Kevin? and it seems every time Henry comes in here, every time he shows up for the streams, there's some cringe that we play and everybody has to sit through it. And of course it's getting played a second time. Of course I'm going to play it a second time. I mean, I don't even think, like if I had to bet on it, I'd say at least half of the chat had no idea what he was saying the first time. Had no idea. The second time, it's probably pretty clear. I guess I was a bit slow with that. But here's the thing. You want to know who's slow? Kremlin Kyle. I mean, this is a guy. I don't have the meme with me right now, but he literally posted a tweet on Twitter, and it was a picture looking out the airplane as he was flying over Colorado, or as elitists like him would say, the flyover states. Because of course, you know, he can talk.
Fuck yeah!
No, dude.
Sorry, I forgot all about it.
No, he can talk. No, dude, he can talk. He can talk his ass off all he wants about left populism and, you know, we're with the workers and everything. He doesn't know what a fucking farm looks like. He's a Russian cow. He literally gets his entire diet from grazing in Russian grass fields, and he doesn't know what a farm or a pattern of farms looks like from an airplane. He just doesn't know. He literally asked this question on Twitter. He asked, wait, why does nature look like that? And it's like this pattern. It's like this grid of farms below under the snow. And people were like, those are farms, bro. And you're like, this guy, he claims to be the champion of the working class. He calls Joe Biden an out of touch, elitist, corporate Democrat. How are those for some buzzwords for you?
I
And
know,
yet he has
right?
no idea how rural America lives at all. All he does is just scoff at them and think, oh, they're dirty, they're conservatives. It's like I was talking about this earlier, because it's like all these people who are the most, sheltered, usually middle to upper middle or straight up upper class people in their upbringing. Parents pay their school tuition, all that kind of shit, sometimes private school and everything. And they're well versed in all, all the leftist shit. They've read Marx and everything. And they always talk about how, the people and we need to stand up for the workers, and we need to stand in solidarity with the workers. And it's like, dude, the actual workers don't want any part in your little revolution. They think that communism's bullshit. The average working class person, at least in Canada and the United States, is moderate to outright socially conservative. And on economics, they tend to be, liberal in the classic sense of it. They tend to want lower taxes and tend to generally like freedom and not want to live in a communist system. These people though, they claim, oh yeah, but you guys are living under false consciousness. Or as the Young Turks said famously with respect to the black voters in the South who voted for Joe Biden this election cycle, they're low information voters, which is, one step.
Holy shit, that's basically the far right saying they're low IQ voters.
No, I was going to say low IQ voters, but here's the deal. Progressive speak, low information equals low IQ. It's just a PC way of saying they're dumb blacks. That's basically what you can translate it as. Like if I were to watch Young Turks, like if I were at YouTube and I was hired to do the transcription for like the big prominent videos and they said, oh, here's the Young Turks video. I'm like, okay, we're transcribing it, for the people who can't hear, like the deaf out there. Well, we got to do our best to give as accurate a translation as possible so that they understand what's being said here. I'm like, oh, the dumb blacks in the South who voted for, or the Uncle Toms who voted for Joe Biden. That's how they talk. And it's like, yeah, but your boy Bernie only appealed. And I said this on Twitter. He only appealed. And of course, it's not just their boy. It's also Kyle's boy. And he used to be a part of their network. But they all kind of got canceled and shit because they've all said inflammatory stuff that doesn't really go over too well with the woke circles. But I said, I'm like, yeah, but your boy Breadline Bernie, he only appeals to boomer hippie types that are fairly well-to-do but also very psychologically underdeveloped, and he also appeals to white suburban aggressive McWoke-wokes. Like they're the type of people who, they'll tell you all the time about how privileged you are and how you gotta check your privilege and how Joe Biden's racist and all this stuff and everything. And it's like, oh, we need to, we need to help the black people that are too dumb to know who to vote for. And it's like, dude, what? Like they honestly, they don't conceive of any black person in America having agency unless they vote for their candidate. It's amazing, man. It's amazing. And I watch Young Turks. I don't watch Kyle as much anymore. It's gotten unbearable, man. Reese talks about this all the time, how it's basically, it is a form of masochism to subject yourself to Kremlin Kyle videos. I mean, it's a binge of cringe. That was a phrase that I had coined there to really get across the viewer's experience in actually jumping down the rabbit hole of quote unquote secular talk, the channel where we defend the terrorists and the Ayatollah. That's this guy. I'm like, and you're watching this and you're like, okay, but dude, you talk about the left populism, you talk about the progressive revolution. I mean, they even wear shirts, 6% jank. He even made a shirt and he's selling this so you can go and buy his merch. It says on it, progressives versus everybody. Like, okay, but you're not going to win elections doing that, dude. Like, that's why Joe Biden kicked your ass, because he had a coalition of moderates, conservative blue dogs, and some progressives, like the Warren type progressives that were turned off by your boy Bernie hiring the cockroach Linda Sarsour and other filth. So that's my little rant there. But it's like, I'm so done with the progressives, dude. Like, I tweeted this out on Twitter tonight. Like, these people are some of the most annoying people I've ever dealt with. I went to university with these people. They unironically believe that anybody who supports the current government, not the current government like is in Trump or whatever, but I mean just this system, anybody who's not for a literal revolution is an Uncle Tom if you're black. It's like, oh, well, you're low IQ, you're suffering from false consciousness. It's like, and except for the token, I guess, woke blacks that voted for Bernie. It's like, okay, but Joe Biden was really popular with African Americans. Like, what are their votes not I guess worthy or whatever? It's like, I mean, it's just, I don't know, because it's like, I'm not even somebody who's opposed to having certain, they have to be very neutral. They have to be like the highest order of neutral tests to gauge that somebody's competent enough to vote, but they can't be partisan in any way, and that's probably impossible to do. But I'm not essentially opposed to that. I'm not somebody who thinks, oh, the voter turnout was only 60%. That's a bad thing. Like, no, if people don't feel like voting, that's their right. I want the people that care to be the ones that show up to vote. But it's like, they cared. They stood in line. They voted for Joe Biden. Oh, but they're low IQ. Oh, I mean, sorry. We're keeping the mask on today on Young Turks. Okay, they're low information. Mask on, you know. Well, not mask on, like mask partially slipping, you know.
Yeah.
That's my little rant. Oh,
fair enough. Kevin, I've got a little something for you, because I know you like your memes and whatnot.
I do. I like your memes. I like my memes.
On Facebook, I'm pretty sure I've tagged you in something and sort of like made you aware of my friend Annie, who has the tattoo that says Rule Britannia. I'm pretty sure you've seen that.
Yeah.
Me and her went out shooting yesterday, and I've just sent you in Twitter DMs a little meme I made of her, because I caught a picture of her which was perfect, and the meme is just brilliant, and it's for you. I want you to see it. It's just perfect. Can you see Twitter on your computer, or do you want me to send it to somewhere else?
I can see it right now. I can see it right now. Dude. Okay, I just want to make a brief statement for the audience right now, because at least on my end, it seems to be running a lot smoother tonight. I was rewatching a portion of the more fiery stream that we did last night, and it was a bit chunky in terms of I guess, however the bandwidth had come across in the stream. Tonight, I've gotten a bit more zoomy. I've actually optimized my laptop for the first time in a few years. Does it look like it's running more smoothly on your end?
I must admit, to me, it seems a lot better. Like,
that's good. So we're getting zoomy. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm still a boomer, but you know, we're gonna bring that meme up for the stream. Absolutely. That's based. That's based in anti-commie pilled right there. I mean, oh man. See, that's another thing with these progressives that just annoys me to no end, is that they're the type of people who will embrace a violent revolution. I mean, sure, they'll talk all the time about how, especially Young Turks says, well, no, we want a political revolution. We don't want it to be violent. Yet they will literally incite the shooting of police officers, not to mention Antifa. So it's like, okay, dude. I mean, and their rhetoric, man. The only difference between the progressive rhetoric at this point, when it came to African Americans with respect to Joe Biden, and the outright white nationalist groups, it is simply the degree to which they coded in, I guess, careful terminology. Like, because the translation of dumb blacks and low IQ voters in that case, when they're specifically referring to black voters, like, that's the same phrase. Like, that's the same phrase. Like, those are indistinguishable. That's how they mean it. Like, because they're basically saying to you, yeah, they're too dumb to know otherwise. Now they'll try to phrase it as, well, no, we're trying to help them. We're trying to help them see the light. But it's like, okay, so that's basically what you guys would call white savior complex. That was their allegation of George W. Bush going into Iraq to free people. white
Mhm.
savior complex. I've been accused of that before too. It's like every neocon gets called that basically, or they call you, you know, a Jewish pig or whatever. But that's usually the more right wing people. Usually, if it's the left wing, they'll say stuff like banker controlled organization or whatever the choice
Yeah.
terms you want. But they'll usually dress it up in more economic dog whistles so that you can pass it as not being anti-Semitic. But of course, banker created, like, what the hell is that even supposed to mean? I mean, I've had that allegation levied against me before, for example, even with like my meme page and stuff, because of course they think it's Jewish. So like, this is a banker created organization. It's like NATO. It's a banker created organization. It's like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Oh, you mean Jews equals bankers, and they think the Jews run the world. So it's like, you know, we're going to bring up the meme. We're definitely bringing up the meme. So I just need to upload it here. But yeah, the computer is running faster now, which is good because I didn't want to have to like drop like money to get a better working computer. But let's just make sure that this does actually go through. Oh man, you know what? Because you send it through Twitter, that's why it's not going to work. I actually have to like
Do you want me to send it on Facebook?
yeah, if you could send it on Facebook, that would work. Otherwise, I have to snip it directly because for whatever reason, Twitter, when you download the picture, it only downloads as a link to the webpage. It doesn't actually download as a proper file. Yeah, I mean, I get it. They want to keep everything internal.
Do you know,
to their,
on your phone, it works though. If you
really?
save the it's weird. Twitter on your phone will let you download images, but I've sent it to you on Facebook.
Oh no, you're right because I've downloaded memes and stuff on there before. That's correct. That's correct.
It's just a bit weird.
Oh man, Dirty Dancers like Kevin's been watching too much Devin. No, I have. I have been going through Devin's older videos and stuff recently. I find him entertaining. I mean, obviously, you know, I don't agree with him on everything, but I do have to say I really appreciate the work that he's done to really unmask the Turks, no doubt. I mean, you know, we all owe them a bit of thanks for that, for sure. And it's a good thing that he's, I guess, recovering from Corona right now and everything, because you know that's not a laughing matter, right? I mean, you know, obviously, young people have been disproportionately adversely affected in terms of hospitalizations. It's basically young people and then very old people that it's really severely affected, which is weird. I mean, I know that the Spanish influenza, 1918 to 1920, it was notorious because it particularly affected people between the ages of 20 and 30. So sometimes things can go in that direction. But yeah, no, there's a lot of memes and stuff about Devin right now and everything. I mean, I generally like Devin. I mean, Devin is an interesting kind of guy because he is on the left. Like, he's not like Steven Crowder or whatever. But, you know, he's calling out the Turks, and of course it's appreciated. And so, you know, so we're going to check Facebook right now because it's, oh, there we go. There's the meme. There's the meme. So we'll bring up the meme for the stream.
Oh, yeah.
Let's take a look at this. Yeah, no, that's based. That's a really good one because it's like, I've made a lot of memes and stuff going after like the Nick Fuentes Fragos and everything lately, but always good to go after the communists. Always good to go after the communists. 100%. Commies are filth. They're little filth shits. So always want to dunk on the commies. I mean, this is a commie-free zone right now. So let's see. We're just gonna bring this up.
It was just amazing picture. It was just perfect, and the caption.
There we go.
There it is.
That's so good. That is based and gun-pilled right there, dude.
I mean, mate, like the look in her face at the time was just perfect for it to be captured.
Dude,
as that.
It's like she's staring down the Red Army, dude.
Oh, mate, she would. She fucking would. Like,
or I guess it's the Turks in that context.
Well, even that she would. Communists and the Turks invading Cyprus, she got no. Yeah, she should be there, front line and all, arms to the teeth.
Oh man, dude, commies get noited. Oh man, dude.
Oh, yeah, man. So she's very based. You can find her on Facebook at Annie the Greek.
So does she own That gun? Is that her gun?
No, that was just down the range,
Ah,
the shooting range.
that's a good gun. That's a potent gun right there.
I mean,
Definitely
they're only air rifles, but they're high-powered ones. I mean, this is Cyprus, but it's not like we have guns here. We're not allowed them because, we live in a civilized country where citizens don't get guns. You know what I mean?
You guys aren't allowed guns, but I
Good.
mean, it is intimidating. I mean, see, that's the thing. That's the thing that's so great about the American system is that you can just have guns. Like that's the thing is that there is an argument to be made that when you don't allow the people to have guns at all, like this is something that I guess is one of probably our disagreements to some extent, but there is an argument to be made that it's easier for a fascist or a communist system to emerge if the people aren't armed. And so Hitler was a good example of that, and it took away guns from people. But the thing is, I mean, I can see arguments that the U.S. system needs to be more regulated. Canada actually has a decent system when it comes to guns because there are a lot of guns in Canada, but there is a monitoring process and everything. But I don't like that you can't have guns in Cyprus though. That just seems like it's
a weird situation here.
Yeah,
it's a really weird situation here because a lot of people do have guns, and there are a number of ways you can have guns, like for hunting and a few other for hunting. But there's also this weird thing where if you've done your military service, you can have a state-issued weapon, and then you're told where ammunition is and things like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's I'm actually going to find, because I know a guy that knows a lot about the gun rules out here, and I'm hopefully going to set up a stream and find out more because I don't actually know the full ins and outs. But from what I understand, there is a lot of technically we're not allowed guns, but on the other hand, within certain reasons, we'll give you a gun. And it's the state that will give you a gun as well. Yeah, so.
Oh man. No, that's good. They're saying in the chat that Devin is over 40 years old. That surprises me, honestly.
Yeah,
I would have thought that he was like
46.
early 30s, late 20s.
No, he's 46, I think.
46. Dude, what? Like when I see the kangaroo memes and stuff, I don't know. I just assumed he was like in his late 20s and stuff. Like I only really kind of got into his content. Like I casually watched his content for a little while back in the day, but I haven't really watched him again for years. I think the last video that I saw back in the day would have been the time when Alex lost my kids to own the Libs Jones crashed 6% jank set. But of course, he wasn't 6% jank at the time. He hadn't blown $1 million for futile at the moment. But I think that was like the last video I had seen of him, and took a long break and stuff. But I got busy with school. But I started going in, watching his stuff again and everything, But I mean, he still criticizes we call him Guantanamo Bay. He calls him Brown Fabio, but that's Hassan Piker, Woke Bay. A lot of nicknames for that dude. Let's see. Yeah, no, they're saying he was in college during the 94 OJ trial. Damn.
Yeah, there's clips of him in the trial room as well.
Oh, shit. Well, I mean, I know he's interested in like criminal justice and stuff too, so.
Yeah, but he was actually there at the OJ trial.
That's crazy, man.
In the what is it when you're like someone viewing a trial? I can't think of what the word is for it. But yeah, he was actually in the actual courtroom. I don't think he was there for the whole thing, but he was definitely there for at least a day. I know that.
Damn, dude. Damn. Yeah. Wow. Well, that's basically what I had lined up in terms of content tonight that was pre-prepared, which was the Kyle stuff. But, if there's anything on your mind that we could talk about, we got another 15 to 20 minutes before I want to wrap up the stream tonight. I got to be up early, so.
No, I'm just, at the moment, my thing is at the moment, I'm just focused on making my videos dealing with the far right in Britain.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, see, with me in the far right, I don't really see them as a problem. Well, obviously they are a problem, just like the far left is. But I
Yeah.
realize where their influence and where their extent of their power is, if that makes sense, like how much
Mhm.
power they have. And the far left and the far right, I'm not too worried about. It's the Islamists that are the bigger problem, because both sides will pander to them for either reason. You know, the far right will pander to them because, you know, anti-gay stuff. The far
Yeah.
left will pander to them because, well, anyone that says anything against Islam must be Islamophobic. End of story.
No, it's like the Turks, man. Dude, it's literally like the Turks. It's like, oh, well, you're white. They're not white, even though they're white Muslims. So you're racist if you criticize it. Like, okay, that saying you're racist against Islam is like saying you're racist against communism. So, like, like what, dude?
Yeah. So recently there's been this growing thing. I talked about it before, like this campaign, and it's getting more and more just like the problem is it's just people in general are dumb sometimes. Like I have a low impression of people just on average. You got to impress me. That's basically my motto. And a lot of people are just not impressing me at the moment, especially within this like right wing sort of patriotic sort of anti-Islam, anti-far left sort of movement. I'm
Yeah.
not impressed by. The only person I am impressed with is Anne-Marie Waters, and that is it.
Right.
Like other than that, no, there is no one at all in Britain that is impressive at all. Because
Oh man.
at
Oh
least
man.
with Anne-Marie Waters, like, yeah, she is a little bit of an isolationist. She's not a globalist and whatnot. That's fine, but she's correct on the more important things for the moment in time. You know, like for example, law and order, Islam, hawk shit like Iran, North Korea. You know, the shit we need to deal with at the moment. And
Mhm.
when it comes down to it all, is she does have the key principles of like secularism, democracy, equality that are built upon all those ideas, unlike a lot of other people in this
Right.
community where they're just like hate Muslims because, yeah, I mean, little girls have been raped and groomed and whatnot, but that's, I mean, it's a fair reason to hate Muslims for it, but they don't see, like, I don't know how to describe it properly. They don't see the other things that are going on in the world and why these things are happening. Like, for example, the main problem in Britain of why these things happened is because the police didn't do their job. And a lot of people don't see that and they don't want to talk about that. They just see it as, oh, it was completely just because Muslims want to do this, which, yeah, that is true to an extent. On the other hand, some of them did it because they got away with it. They did it once and kept doing it and doing it and doing it because they could get away with murder. And that's the fault of the state and mainly the police not investigating, not prosecuting, and not dealing with these things. But yeah, coming back to my whole thing, I'm not impressed at all with the whole, you know, counter Islam community at all.
No, dude, it's not just it's not just it's not just the United Kingdom. I want to just speak to briefly. I'm not impressed with the Canadian and American equivalents either, because you look at, for example, Jordan Peterson, who's more on the right in Canada. You look at and the sad thing with Jordan Peterson is that Jordan Peterson himself, like I have watched a series, I haven't watched that many of his lectures. I probably watched about maybe 30 hours worth of his lectures. And I watched his stuff specifically talking about, Solzhenitsyn and the Soviet Union as well as Nazi Germany. He understands authoritarianism. There's a line from him that, I agree with, where he says, the foundation of that tyranny builds upon begins when people start lying to themselves as a collective, basically. When everybody just says, oh, the sky is green because the leader said it and we all have to say it. It's like, well, that's basically when everybody lies to themselves. That's right. But then you look at in terms of what's come out of it and you're like, okay, they're like almost everybody that I've known, at least, and have seen follow him, has gone down the paleo-conservative angle. Like, show me neocons that look to Jordan Peterson for inspiration. You're gonna have a hard time. They all go down the paleo-conservative route. In the United States, we have Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is a libertarian, open borders type of neoliberal guy who happens to be really socially conservative. He has the same foreign policy as Kremlin Kyle Kulinski. That's the only reason that Kyle and would ever agree to debate anybody was Charlie Kirk, because it's like, oh, well, we can argue over right wing versus left wing economics, but oh man, I can't be seen on stage with a hawk. I would lose, and it would embarrass me because I've never argued with a hawk before. I just have my straw mans about a hawk. And so he could only have somebody like Charlie on. But unfortunately, there are a lot of them on the right to pick from. Crowder's not too hawkish at all. In fact, at this point, the only prominent figure in major right-wing media right now, apart from, the OG neocons and stuff like Bill Kristol and everything, it's like Ben Shapiro. He's the only one who's like still pretty popular in the mainstream of, Trump's America and the Republican Party, who is pretty reasonable on foreign policy and understands that you have to have a presence in the Middle East and Venezuela and all this stuff. Everybody else, it's just, they always like, it's so disappointing, man, because the conservative movement in the United States used to be like the bastion of anti-communism. They used to have, the more radical end of that group was for a preemptive nuclear war against the Soviet Union to destroy the communists. I mean, it got up to like Timothy Power level, where you're like, we win if there are two of us left and one of them left. That sort of idea. Like they were like anything to stop the communists. And now they'll talk a lot about how much they hate communism, yet they'll do apologetics for Trump when he praises and writes love letters to Chairman Kim. They'll do the same thing for communist China. They'll say, well, actually, I guess Xi Jinping's kind of based. It's like, what? I mean, can you imagine? Like, I mean, any of those guys under Ronald Reagan saying, actually, like Gorbachev and Andropov and those guys, they were based. Like, they're strong leaders. They lead a tyrannical communist system. You'd be like, no.
Reagan would have done a public address. He would have had the media in the Oval Office. He would have done a national emergency address going, what the fuck are these idiots chatting about? Can you believe this? Sympathizing with the communists.
No, I know.
What I mean? He wouldn't have it. He wouldn't stand for it.
These are prominent figures in the Trump brand at this point. Like, Charlie Kirk, of course, runs Turning Point USA, all these guys. And you're like, okay, you guys talk a lot about combating communism and the ideology of communism in America. Okay, that's all well and good. But you don't want to have an aggressive, heavy-handed foreign policy on real communism outside of America, like particularly in Asia right now. It's just, it's amazing to me how after the Cold War ended in Europe, at least, everybody just pretended that communism wasn't a threat anymore. It's like, wait, what? Like they really think that that blue-haired college kid feminists and stuff, the woke feminists, like the third wave feminists on college campuses that will cite Marx and stuff and be anti-capitalist. They think that that's a bigger threat than North Korea, the communist rogue state, arming hundreds of nuclear weapons and pointing them at America. Oh, that's not a threat, dude. In fact, that's base. He's a strong leader. Look at how he kills his people. It's like, okay, then what's your problem with communism at that point? Like, what is their problem with communism if they're just going to say, well, actually, Xi Jinping's kind of base? Because at least, the John Birch Society, a lot of the more paleo-conservative elements back in the day during the Cold War, they did not make apologetics for the Soviet Union. They would make apologetics for like Pinochet and Franco and those kinds of people, fascist dictators that supported America, but they wouldn't be making, like they were allies. They wouldn't be making apologetics for the literal enemy, for the thing that they were supposed to fight. Like at this point, how can you be in, like, I guess in that group and try to own the communists and tolerate Trump singing the praise of the communist dictators? It's like, because the most dangerous communists in the world are not on any American college campuses. They're in the capital, North Korea and China. Like it's Kim, and it's actually Kim doesn't even spend that much time in the capital proper. He's got his swag palaces. He's got like 17 luxury mansions and stuff. He's got his barge with the slides, and he's got all the 1,000
beach villas.
100%. The whole country is his plantation, basically. The thing is, it's like, so what's their reservation? What's their opposition to communism? Because at least back in the day, there was an ideological opposition to communism. I mean, you could criticize and say you guys are maybe a bit too cozy with fascists, but these guys, they like Duterte, they like Bolsonaro, they like a lot of the more right-leaning dictator-minded type people or want to be dictator-like people, and they like the left-wing dictators. It's like, so then how are you anti-communist? You're not anti-communist, you're just anti-SJWs on American colleges. And it's like, I don't like those people. Those people are cringy, but it's like, it's so obvious that North Korea is a bigger threat than those people. Like, it's not even close. It's not even within the same 3 or 4 orders of magnitude. It's like, one is an existential threat to your country's very existence. The other is just some annoying memes. Like, what? What? These guys call themselves anti-communists, man. Like, anti-communism at this point is, in the same way as you would characterize what's happened in the UK in terms of their right way. It's unimpressive. The only one who has any integrity left in that side that I can think of, at least at this moment, that has any bit of a following at this point is like Ben Shapiro. And in fairness to, I guess, the crazies on their side, they're not really fans of Ben Shapiro anymore because they see him as a dirty Jew. So it's like, okay. I mean, we saw Nick Fuentes. He literally made his whole thing. Part of his whole rise to fame is by basically accusing Ben Shapiro of being a fake conservative. So it's like the one reasonable conservative that's left that's kind of on the Trump side. I mean, because obviously the neocons aren't on the Trump side, but like the one reasonable conservative that's on Trump's side, oh, no, we're going to make an entire fuss for 4 months and have all of our basement henchcocks go and show up for the first time leaving their mom's basement in months. They're going to show up at these events. And of course, you know how they're basement dwellers, because when they go out to ask the question, you could say, well, people get nervous. It's a big crowd. They don't do public speaking. But you're like, you just look at these people. You're like, those people don't know how to interact with people just in general. They don't. This is the first time outside in a while. It's like they just got out of like solitary confinement at like Rikers Island or something. You're like, and that's all of them, dude. It's like one after another. They're all socially awkward and everything. And their daddy is a 20-year-old who lives with his mom still. And talks about the USS Liberty did 9/11 or whatever. Like that's their dad, dude. And you're like, this is supposed to be like the anti-communist movement of the era. Oh man, it's so unimpressive, man. So unimpressive. I mean, I'm just imagining Reagan looking at this shit and being like, "This is what happened to American conservatism. 6 gorillion cookies. That's the memes. Like these are the people who rap. Like, oh man, it's cringy, man. It's cringy. And I hope that the Republican Party gets back to, some semblance of normalcy, like under Bush or whatever, I mean, it's just because this stuff, there's no saving grace to it, man. Like, you would think the saving grace would be, well, I mean, sure, they might be cozy with fascists or whatever, but at least they understand that communism is wrong. Nope. Trump's like, maybe we should make me president for life. We wrote beautiful love letters together. Man, I mean, imagine for a moment if like Hillary Clinton said that, they'd be like confirmed communist, right?
Yeah, it's the
like,
communist takeover of America. That's what they
would have
doing.
Confirmed all their suspicions that Hillary Clinton was a communist, a flaming communist. But Donald Trump doesn't. They're like, oh no, he's fighting for American capitalism and everything. And you're like, okay,
yeah. He's doing it to own the libs. He did it to own the libs. It's absolutely ridiculous, these people and their apologetics of.
But I want to get your view though, Jay. What do you make of the assessment that Ben Shapiro's like the lone wolf, not the lone wolf, but like the lone lion left in this whole thing on that side? Like, because I can't think of any other that are like in the Trump type conservatives or, that side of the thing. I don't really know too many people in the UK in that sense.
No, there isn't, mate. Ben Shapiro is literally probably the only Trump supporter that is a war that we could at least say is a hawk to a degree.
Yeah.
I mean, he isn't hawk like, say, you or I or Reese, but he's at least on the scale of the hawk line. But no, he's the only one, because all these Trump fuckboys, all they love about Trump is that Trump is a non-interventionist. Trump doesn't want intervention. And Trump is a fucking, I mean, sometimes he's a pussy, and then sometimes he starts dropping missiles, and I'm like, yay, Daddy Trump!
No, that's true. No, that's true. He's not 100% bad. Not 100% bad. Sometimes
Yeah.
he surprises us when we like it, but no, that's
Yeah.
the thing. They literally have gotten to a point where it's like, yeah, you're right. They like him because of the anti-war stuff, the Tulsi stuff,
Yeah.
and everything. You're like, how can you claim to be anti-communist? But the only area that you want to fight communism is within your own country's borders. It's like they're anti-containment. You know, like Truman had the containment doctrine. They have the expansion doctrine. They're literally like, oh, we'll let communism take over the world, but you know, not our problem, not our borders. It's like, okay, but then what happens when they've got tanks on Canada and Mexico's border and then they come for you? Oh, we have the 3% militias. It's like, okay, dude, good luck with that. like
Anne-Marie Waters. She's the only other person I can think of.
Anne-Marie Waters. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. So it's Anne-Marie Waters in the UK and Ben Shapiro in
America.
In America. And then as far as Canada goes, I mean, obviously there are people like, you know, Derek Sloan's kind of hawkish and stuff, you know, in terms of the Conservative Party. Jordan Peterson himself, I haven't really seen him talk very much about foreign policy at all. All that I know is that a lot of his most avid followers really go down the paleocon route. But I mean, again, the problem with Jordan Peterson is that a lot of the rhetoric that he has, a lot of the lessons that he'll bring about from tyranny are true, but these people they don't seem to get that. Like, I guess they'll get the clean your room message, but they don't really seem to like understand the actual lessons in Solzhenitsyn and everything else. I mean, I know that Solzhenitsyn in his later days became pretty sort of Duginist type fascist and everything. And it's like, I mean, he suffered a lot under the communist system. And it was kind of in a way, you know, somewhat of a natural reaction that he would go hardcore in the other direction once he had the freedom to do so. But it's like, you look at this stuff and you're like, okay, but how can you oppose tyranny if you say and you admit and you concede that democracy doesn't matter over there? Well, then how can we justify it mattering over here? I mean, the only way that you can rationalize that is to say that somehow the borders here are more special. And you could say, well, that's a substantive argument and whatnot. But I would argue that once you've already conceded the ground that democracy isn't a universal good, you are going to, over time, give up on the forcefulness with which you will defend it in your own territory. In other words, once as a collective you agree that something doesn't have inherent value that's universal, you will allow it to slip from you at home. And as you in the present may be defending North Korea or Communist China and saying, well, that's not our problem, it's over there. Don't be surprised if in 20 years, as everybody buys into that way of thinking, it's over here. And guess what? Now there's no world police to save you because you were the world police and you forfeited it. So if anything, they might intervene to help the oppressor at that point. I mean, because that's what they do. Russia does do intervention. They did intervention to help Assad. They don't do intervention to help the people. So they are in that sense the world police. They're the world police in the sense of they keep the dictators in power, you know? So
someone in the chat is asking like why are you against China? And it's
wait. Yeah. Oh, it's probably one of the communists, man.
Yeah.
I know that there are a lot of communists out there, and
forgetting the fact that China is a communist state, and we need to end communists throughout the world. China, as a state, has stolen our technology. It invades sovereign territorial waters of our allies. It steals from us. It has infected us and caused pandemic outbreaks across the world, not once, not twice, but 3 times. This is more than enough reasons to be anti-China and anti the Chinese government.
Just since 2000, dude.
Just since 2000, exactly, mate. And that's not even before we get into before then. And forgetting the fact that, we're not even going to get into what the CCP have done to their people in the last 70 fucking years, all the murders, the deaths, the concentration camps and everything else.
It's 8 figures. Like exactly. the more, when you average it out, the usual death counts for the CCP regime since 1949 are around 80 million people. But that margin of error there goes past 100 million. You're like, okay, that's a lot of people, but there are 1.4 billion people over there, so who cares if they kill 100 million? That's honestly the attitude that a lot of people have, and it's like, okay, so by that logic, it's cool if you just kill 6% of the United States. I mean, what? I mean, so yeah, we got a communist in the chat. Basically, we've gotten to a point now because of the regularity of these streams where it's, I try to have it every day. Sometimes stuff comes up, but I try to do these every day right now. And big ups to the patrons. We're almost at $60 a month now, so almost 2% towards financial viability, which isn't bad for like 300 subs. Once we get to about 20,000 subs at that rate, it'd be financially viable. But here's the deal. Every time they know it's somewhere between 9 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Pacific, they know to watch, and they're like, oh, it's that no good neocon ghoul. I'm going to go and post some commie cringe, or I'm going to go and post some Nick Fuentes cringe in his chat. It's like, okay, oh man, Jay, you're going to get a kick out of this. You obviously found the Kyle video entertaining, right? Like, I found it entertaining. We would agree on that, right? I believe it's my prediction here that you are going to also find this comment entertaining. It's by the communist. He says, I'm not a communist. I'm for national Bolshevism. Dude, okay, that one right there, that's another one of those like world ending that's basically this. That's basically this. That's like Nick Fuentes, like, no, I'm not a Nazi. I'm a nationalist communist, or I'm a nationalist socialist. It's like we mix what they would see as the best parts of communism with the best parts of fascism. It's like, no, you can't call me a Nazi. I'm also a communist. It's like, okay, bud. It's like, what, dude? Okay, there's a chance he's trolling, but like, we know that there are people out there who unironically would make that statement. No, I'm not a commie. I'm a national Bolshevist. Like, okay, so at that point, you're basically like Mussolini blended with Vladimir Lenin. Oh, okay, dude, your parents must be so proud.
Absolutely fucking.
Yeah, I like how Dr. Seuss is like, Nazbol alert. It's like if I had the alarm sounds just like whoop.
Well, when you get a good computer, you can have those alarms.
I know. We got to get me a good computer. Absolutely. I just there's something about that comment right there. I'm not a communist. I'm for national Bolshevism. Something about that is just like, okay, there's a 20% chance it's a troll trying to be crazy, and there's an 80% chance that they lack all self-awareness that could ever be afforded to anybody, like any ounce of it. They got none, zilch, nada, dude. That, like, you don't understand how fringe that sounds. Oh no, I'm not a communist. I'm a national Bolshevist. Like, dude, what do you think a Bolshevist is, dude? What do you think Bolshevism is? Like, have you read Lenin? I got news, dude. He was a communist, dude. Like, no, I mean, Henry's saying it's an obvious troll, but like, I'm telling you guys, I'm not pulling this out of my behind. This is a thing. These people are actually a thing. Like, there are unironically people out there who would make that statement, and they would be dead serious, like not a hint of irony, just genuinely serious. Like, you ask them, like, you're like, well, what's your view on social issues? And like as far right wing as you can get, as far socially conservative as you can get. Like, they're not like women belong in the kitchen types. They're like women belong dead types, like those types of people. And then you ask them on economics, and you're like, well, what's your economics? And they're like, well, I'm to the left of Stalin, bro. And you're like, okay, bud. It's like, I mean, I guess it balances out, so they're a centrist. Like, dude, I'm gonna have to change my Twitter bio, because I call myself a centrist on there, because like I'm right wing on economics and left wing on most social issues. But it's like, it doesn't mean anything, man. It's just a meme at this point. Oh man. So okay, he's trying to explain to us the nuances of his ideology. Yeah, no, I need a soundboard. I need as Dr. Dancer is saying, we need to get me a swaggy soundboard, dude. Absolutely 100%. He says communism is for a international regime. I support socialist policies on a national level. And it's like, okay, here we go. So it's basically Hitler. He says that's a huge difference. I'm like, okay, but dude, you are aware that Trotsky made those exact same arguments until Stalin had him exiled, and then took those arguments to justify socialism in one country. And here's the funny thing about socialism in one country. They took over like half of the world, dude. So what do you mean you're not for an international regime? Like your boy Stalin literally took over a huge plurality of the world's land territory. What do you mean?
Kazakhstan,
Kazakhstan, North Korea was a puppet. I mean, there was a point right before the Sino-Soviet split when Moscow, either directly or through puppet states, controlled territory that contiguously you could walk through from southeast, like the southern coast of southern Vietnam, and walk contiguously without crossing through a non-communist country all the way up to the border with Finland. That entire what is that, 9,500 kilometer walk?
Yeah. We had a saying in Britain about it.
They painted Eurasia red, essentially, and you're telling me no, communism is international. I support social. Dude, those people, Hoxha, all those people supported that shit, and guess what? They wanted to take over the world. Like
you could walk from Berlin. You could walk from East Berlin, the border in Berlin, all the way to Hong Kong, and still stay and never leave a communist country.
Never leave a communist country. Never leave a communist country. Like you would be on red land the entire time. And this guy's trying to tell me that, oh, well, it's actually just nationalist or whatever. It's like, no, dude, communism is an expansionist ideology. Socialism, like National Socialism, the funny thing is that's also expansionistic. Now you can make a difference in that National Socialism is for colonies and plunder, whereas international communism or whatever is just for making the world one country or whatever. Whereas with National Socialism, there would always be, a motherland and then oppressed territories or whatever for the master race or whatever. I get it, but like, dude, you mix both of them together. It's like you're literally you're basically what happens if you blend Stalin with Mussolini at that point. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Oh man, wait, American Madhouse. Oh man, we got news here, dude. We got news here, dudes. American Madhouse, Henry. By the way, go subscribe to his channel. He's got some interesting content on there. You'll probably be like, whoa, whoa, that's an interesting corner of the internet. With Henry, he brings on some interesting and kind of wacky people and stuff. He's here going to have a chat with Zoomer Nation tomorrow. Zoomer Nation was somebody who just for a little bit of drams to keep the audience entertained, because we've been doing some more serious stuff lately. Here's a little bit of some drammy drams. So basically, Zoomer Nation, he's this like nobody dude, and you could say, yeah, but he has more subscribers than you, dude. It's like, yeah, I know he's got about 2,000 subscribers or whatever. That's probably about the extent that he's ever going to get to, because there are only so many radical SJW communists out there. Because you got to keep in mind the Nazbols and those types of people, they also are communists, but like they're not down with Zoomer Nation because Zoomer Nation is transgendered and they think he's degenerate and should be put up against the wall. So even within the communist movement, a lot of them think he's cringe. Anyway, this guy, he, going back to around October, he messages me and he's like debate me. He does the debate me, bro, memes. And I'm like, I kind of like brushed him off a little bit. And I had some of my friends, they're like, you should debate Zoomer Nation. And I'm like, I said to Reese, I'm like, I got a number of people who are telling me like, you can pick up subscribers from this. And of course, Reese is just like, yeah, if you want a bunch of commies showing up in every chat, sure. It's like, I guess you'll pick up subscribers anyway. Of course, I didn't debate him. But then he keeps on pestering me both on Twitter and on YouTube for a debate and saying like you're chicken because Reese and I wouldn't debate him, and Reese was like Zoomer Nation, dude, like get out of here, dude. like he's a pipsqueak or whatever. Reese just brushes him off. I brush him off. He messages me on Twitter later. And this was right around the time when I was formulating the debate policy, where I'm like, I don't want to spend every day debating losers. I'm going to have to put a deterrent in place so that I don't get all these challenges to debates. And so it's $100. So I tell him, I'm like, dude, here's the deal. We can do the debate that you've been begging for all these months. But you're going to like, and not you, whoever in your supporter crowd, you can Kickstarter it. I don't care. Somebody's going to have to pay me $100 American to do the debate. He's like, why would I pay to debate you? You're a fascist. And I'm like, okay, but dude, you're the one who's been begging me for a debate since like at that point about 4 months. And I'm like, I haven't asked you for a debate once. So pay up or there's no debate. He's like, yeah, but you're a fascist. And then he called me a transphobe and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm not engaging with this dude. So that dude, I mean, I know Henry doesn't charge money for debates or anything. Henry actually enjoys sitting down with crazies, you know.
I see why me and Henry get on.
Oh no, Henry made a really good point there. He says, "You mean she is a degenerate?" That is technically correct. That's technically correct. I misgendered Zoomer Nation there. Misgendered Zoomer Nation. So you know that's
yeah, Kevin. No need to be a transphobe.
I mean, it's just what I found funny there, of course. Like I guess the little nugget of comedy there is that you know you've got this intro of like months and months of these requests for a debate, the debate me bro memes, and then I'm like, okay, it's $100, and it's not simply that's it. Like if his response was that's too much, I'm not doing it. It's like okay, that's fair, or if his response was like okay, or if his response was like, well, you know, I don't really feel like it anymore, whatever. Maybe you say, okay, you chickened out or whatever. No, his response was, why would I pay you? And you're like, dude, you've spent at least an hour of the last 4 months out of your life sending requests for a debate. Like, what do you mean? Why would you have all the incentive in the world? You've been begging for one. It's like you can make an argument that the price is too high. That's kind of the point, so that I don't have to debate these losers ad nauseum. If they offer like, I say I said at $10, and they're all like, okay, $10 for debate. It's like then I got to debate all these losers in a row. It's like no, it's $100. No, but that wasn't his problem. His problem was like, well, wait, why would I pay you? It's like, okay, dude, but you're the one who's been paying for a debate. So that's my deal with Zoomer Nation. Zoomer Nation, by the way, is an unironic communist who has made arguments in the past before, like you can't call China communist because they have a state and shit like that, if I recall.
Oh my God.
No, dude, these people, man, they're literally led by a communist party. It's the only party that's allowed in the country. Oh, but they have a state, so it's not technically communist, bro. It's like he's that no true communist dude. He Zoomer Nate. I guess I'm misgendering her again. Anyway, this character, Zoomer Nation, is basically the meme that I'm about to throw up on the screen right here. Just wait for it. I mean, of course he's or she is this meme, and that goes without saying. Literally Zoomer Nation, but also this meme here. This one was the one I'm going for. I'm going to remove the Chiron. But like every time I see these people, it always reminds me of this meme.
Oh my days, I love that one.
True, because his brain is literally a hammer and sickle. Like there's nothing going on there, dude. It's just dogma. Exactly. It's just Marxist theory and stuff. It's just that's all he's got, dude. It's all he's got. Oh man. Oh yeah, no, they're gonna cancel me. Everybody's about to cancel me right now. Hashtag cancel Castly, right? Oh man. And I also like this one too because he does or she does these memes too. Hates America and stuff. It's like that wasn't real socialism. That was a USA sabotage. It's like okay, Wojak. It's like
Kevin,
yeah.
time for me to go,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
it's time for me to go too. We had a good chat tonight. Thanks for coming on. We'll have to do the disagreement one pretty soon.
We need to plan that. Yeah. I'll send you a link to my, because I got this app called Candidly that I send to people and I sort out live streams. That's got all my dates and times of when I'm available. You just pick which date and time's best for you, and we'll get it done.
Oh man, before you go, there is a final troll thing here. This guy says you keep intentionally misgendering her. This is gross. The guy who called himself a national Bolshevist, in other words, probably wants to gas Jews, is now defending what, trans rights? Really? A Nazbol.
Dude, it's absolutely hilarious.
That's like a Nazi calling you racist. It's like, what? I thought that was your whole point. I thought you guys were proud racists. It's like, oh, I'm imperialist trash. Oh, oh, oh man. Oh man. Yeah, no, we had a lively chat. Obviously, I haven't really been watching too much of the chat.
A little bit of an eye, but it is.
Oh yeah, you're a moderator, man. You're a moderator. You got the power. You got the power. You can ban any of these dudes right now. I mean, you can ban Dr. Zals. Don't do it. Dr. Zals paid his tithe. He sent the PayPal contribution. Don't ban him. But like, I'm just saying, like, technically, you have the power to do so. I mean, you have the power of God here right now, dude. You're a mod, you're a mod god. So we only have 4 of them. Only 4 of them. Well, I mean, there's me, but it's like, obviously it's my channel, so it's like, oh man.
All right.
Have a good night, my friend. And
have a good day. It's a beautiful Sunday morning. I got shit to do. Right. We got to drop hot pills on people and bank that dollar bills, y'all.
Yeah, gotta hustle like a hawk and drop a lot of hawk pills like a pharmacist, right? So keep it based. Have a good night, everybody.
Till next time, everyone. Bye.
Yo, bye. So definitely be sure to like this video. Definitely go and click the link in the description. Follow this channel over on Twitch. Additionally, if you want to directly support the channel, you can go over to patreon.com/superpowerbroadcasting and help me out there. Let's get up to $100 a month. And then at that point, we'll have a daily pre-recorded video premiering on YouTube. And in addition to daily streams premiering, or not premiering, but rather broadcasting live simultaneously to Twitch and YouTube. And so big ups. We got 1 person on Twitch right now. We got 12 on YouTube. Super cool. And, I think we're at about 324 subscribers right now, if I recall. So very cool, growing every day. So I'll be back here tomorrow, and I'll see you all then. And yes, I'll see the Hawks. I'm sure we'll see the haters and traitors. Have a lively chat as usual. So with that, have a good night, everybody. Peace.